Hello, welcome. My name is William Sabule, and this is the Newspaper Review here on Tab TV. I'm so excited to have you join me here once more on the program. This is where we bring you the headlines across newspapers around Nigeria. Within the last 24 hours, a lot has happened, and it's been a weekend also. So we are here to go through the headlines to see what happened between Saturday and today, Monday. If you're ready to go on that journey with me, you are welcome. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe right now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't also forget to turn on the notification, because that's how you will get notified whenever we come up with a new episode of this program. And with me here on the program is Victor Sioku. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
How was your weekend?
Man, the weekend taught me a lot of lessons.
I can imagine.
That more Nigerians have entered the poverty line.
Wow.
Because the road was just so scanty. Not that there was any curfew or something like that, or any strike. But in joints, in major sports, found out that Nigerians were not out there last night. And yeah, I made some trip around town, and I felt the impact of this removal of
subsidy. It's beginning to take its toll on many people. Even me, these days I don't go anywhere just like that. We have to be strategic about movement. You calculate. You want to visit a friend, you prioritize. Now, will I see better jollof rice? Or is he going to give me some money for the fuel before you move? And you better apply that strategy. And then don't go to places where you don't make money with your fuel. Fuel these days is very precious. It's like a gold something, you know? So that's how it is. But then my weekend was really relaxed. I spent a lot more time at home for the first time in a long while.
You don't have a choice right now.
Oh, yes. So because of the fuel, I mandated myself to rest. I said, oh boy, we need to work out anyhow. We have to be very strategic. All right. Thank you very much for joining us once more. Today, we're going to go through the headlines together with you. Don't forget, you can drop your comments and your reactions on the comment section, because we really love to hear whenever you drop your comments. All right, let's start today's newspaper headlines with Daily Sun newspaper. And on the headline here, we have NAS leadership, Ohaneze Indibu, task Southeast lawmakers to vote with discretion. Group mobilizes support for Kalu. I'll take that again. NAS leadership, Ohaneze Indibu, task Southeast lawmakers to vote with discretion. Group mobilizes support for Kalu. You find details of that story on page 26 and 27 of the Daily Sun newspaper. We also see here as the main headline, it says, fuel subsidy, NLC boycotts talks with federal government, insists on Wednesday strike. Their absence surprising, but differences will be resolved soon. Alake. TUC demands increase in minimum wage, tax holiday, orders. Talks to continue Tuesday. Federal government to raise tripartite committee. Other headlines here on the Daily Sun, we see fuel subsidy. Ipman hails federal government over approval for private importers. Says price will crash. Probe missing $2.1 billion, 3.1 trillion naira of fuel subsidy payments, or face legal action, Surap tells Tinubu. Story is on page 26 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Also, we see here, sit at home, bishops honor, Chukuma, Enugu town unions back Governor Mba. Remember, Governor Mba came out to say no more sit at home, and is ready to follow through. And we see this headline here confirming the support of people from certain quarters for that move in Enugu State. All right, you find details of that story on page 29. Also, United Nigeria Airlines unfolds plan to enlarge fleet. That story is on page 25 of the Daily Sun. And I'll take this very last one. It says, anxiety in military over expected appointments of new service chiefs. 300 generals, admirals, AVM risk retirement. You find details of that on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. So do well to grab a copy to get the full details of all of that stories. All right, Victor, let me come to you. The very hot story on the burner is that of NLC. And we see here as the headline where it says NLC boycott talks with federal government and also insist on Wednesday strike. A lot is happening. Nigerians are already going through a lot. You confirmed it also that over the weekend, you saw the way the roads were scanty. Most places where people will go out to relax, people were no longer there. A lot of people spent good times with their family, trying to strategize how to face the new week of spending so much on the same old income, the same old salaries, the same old, sources of money that you used to have. But then your expense rate has gone overboard. And this has created a lot of outcry. And now we see the labor trying to wade in. But now federal government is also trying to stall the labor from getting into the strike. But that hasn't really worked well. Can you just go over what is going on between the federal government and the labor plus, of course, trade union Congress?
Okay, so there was a meeting over the weekend.
Yeah.
First of all, the NLC met and met with the government and then declared that by Wednesday they'll be going for the strike. The strike will start.
Yeah.
But the TUC on their own, that's the Trade Union Congress, had their own meeting yesterday. Although they were supposed to have the meeting with the NLC, but the NLC they were like, see, that's through Ajero. They were like, see, they were not going to come for the meeting, that they've made their demands straight. So what are we facing now? What are these demands that they are talking about? Revert to the old price, then we can make way for this subsidy. That the subsidy is so sudden that the government did not make proper provision for the poorest in our lands. And come to think of it, like we were discussing, that take-home pay is no longer take-home pay.
Yes,
it does not get to the house. It's, in fact, in many cases, it even stops at your workplace because of the cost of making transportation to your workplace and back. So you find out that that take-home doesn't get home. So, but if you look at from another angle, politically, you find out that this same story of going on strike, NLC going on strike, happened about 11 years ago. That was in 2012. And what then happened then? You find out that the government of today, we are the ones that masterminded the 2012 NLC strike. That they went all out on Goodluck Jonathan on the same matter. And mind you, they used that platform. They capitalized from 2012 to create their own party. Then the merger happened. Then 2015, they won the election. Same strategy. That was what, in quotes, Peter Obi and the youth and the obedience used from the NSAS of 2020. But I'll still come back, please, guys. From 2020, capitalized on it to get the fame,
huge support they got.
Yes. So, but now, you now ask the question, why is it that they are not handling it with what they said the former time? What did they tell Goodluck Jonathan? That he did not make provision. Why didn't you make provision this time around? And remember, even the past president, General Muhammad Buhari, beforehand had already told Nigerians that, see, that there is nothing like subsidy. But he went in there and he saw that subsidy was existing. Yes, we still have our questions about the true values of the subsidy. Back then during Jonathan, it was reported by Al Jazeera that it was around $8 billion. But today we are talking about 4 trillion naira, way more than that figure. And unfortunately for us now, we are in a worse situation than before. You know, when Nigeria is spoiling, or when Nigeria, let me use the word, is spoiling on the process of spoiling, we think that it will not get this bad, or in the next 5 years, things will get better. You know, we are a very optimistic set of people.
Very true.
But let me tell you, Mr. Bule, if we don't do anything, as in if this new leadership of Tinubu does not make drastic and
deliberate,
drastic, deliberate, and correct moves. Correct, not try by luck or try by error. It has to be very correct. if they don't make this move, my brother, my sister, Nigeria might just be worse than Venezuela.
Hmm.
Now, Wednesday is very close, mind you. So you ask, if this strike happens, mind you, the road is too empty.
Yeah.
We are feeling the strike already.
Of course.
Ask me. But also, when you also look at from the point that uh, what do you call it, the electricity providers will shut down, what then happens? That means Nigeria will be in total shutdown. Will they be able within 2 days make this work? I think no. But if you ask me, I will tell the government, see, we know you have good plans. I am not a supporter of fuel subsidy, but there are things you should also subsidize, which is transportation. In a situation like this, we are supposed to have beforehand, see, buses out there, huge buses, big buses, conveying people
At lower rates.
at lower rates. We should by now. Oh, it's very unfortunate too.
Because the transportation for distances where you usually would pay 200 naira, you now pay 500, right? Distances where you usually would pay 50 naira, you now pay about 150 for those distances. So if really there were buses that will help Nigerians and say, okay, let's take for instance in Lagos State where we have the BRT buses. If it was the case of say all BRT buses will still collect old rates or lower rates. So if you can make it to a BRT bus, good for you. But if you want to take your own private means of transportation, either your vehicle or any of the e-hailing services, that's on you. This will clearly show that, yes, the government is of concern and they are making conscious effort to help people, go through this very tough time. But yes, we know that the president has also announced that palliative measures are on its way. But how soon are we going to get there? We also hear that, yes, they've also considered increasing minimum wage and all of that. But we know that these things don't happen miraculously, as the way the subsidy removal pronouncements took effect. We know that immediately the president said, subsidy is gone. It took effect nationwide immediately, including the NNPC that we all thought will be the hope of the masses and say, okay, bad as a bad. NNPC will still sell at the old price until the end of June. But here we are. They were the first to implement the 511 naira to 550 naira prices that we now see. So I don't even know what is going on.
So, like you mentioned, increasing of the minimum wage.
Yeah.
That is for the public sector. The effect will be more on the public sector. What happens to the private sectors? The private sector that many businesses are suffering to even survive.
And then you ask them
and
to
you're
increase.
asking them to increase. In fact, they cannot even factor how they can power their offices because of the high cost of electricity and the high cost of fuel. You're not telling them that they will increase salaries when they know on their own, by their records, they are suffering.
Already.
Oh, what about the interest rates that these guys, many businesses have collected loans? The interest rate is very high on them,
and it goes high every day.
Yes. So you find out that it's just a terrible situation right now. I was just thinking the other day, I'm supposed to make a trip back home, and I'm like, see, will I now be spending up to 50 to 60,000 naira to make this trip? When I know beforehand with 20,000 naira, I will go and return back. Check out the level of increment in fuel, and come to think of it, just like you were saying, when you are now making movements, when making like somebody like me, I try to accumulate my trips together,
of course,
so that I can just in one time
go
make
around
all the whole trips and return
we keep
back.
shifting appointments because if you're supposed to meet me on Monday and I have another one on Tuesday, we'll merge it. We will meet on Tuesday together, all of us. There's no way to meet you. You must be a VIP for me to meet you on Monday and meet the other person on Tuesday. So that's the new status quo. That's where we are. And it's not really easy for a lot of people. I'm talking about some of us that are learned and we know how to plan. Have you gone down the ladder to see what is going on with people down there? And now this strike is going to add more pain to a lot of people, because imagine where there are no filling stations functional, Even the markets are going to be functioning partially somehow, depending on the kind of market you're going to. And then there will be no electricity services going on. And the banks too will not be working full time. A lot is going to happen to people. These are more pain that Nigerians will have to go through while the federal government is trying to figure out how to mitigate the sufferings of people as they go ahead with the process of removing subsidies. That's what we were complaining about. That
Yes.
subsidy removal is okay, but what was the process to which you want to engage in taking out this subsidy? Did you do this before the removal? Now you're doing it after the removal. So I don't know how that is going to really settle down well with Nigerians. But that's the situation, the current situation we find ourselves. As for the Labour Congress, I don't know if we've had, okay, from the reports, we see that yes, federal government is engaging with them. But who are the parties from the federal government angle that are engaging with these people? There's no cabinet fully set up yet. So we don't have people from the Labour Ministry. We have Alake as representative of the federal government engaging, and we hear him say, oh, okay, we'll take these messages back to the president, who is in turn going to decide on Tuesday what we're doing next. So there's a lot that is going on at this time. That is why I feel that, in my own opinion, the president's pronouncement was just too hasty. I mean, you have not even, slept in Aso Rock for one night and we are already here. You're already having so much on your table to deal with. First, with the entire people of Nigeria, trying to, settle them into a new administration like this. I mean, I'm not enjoying all of this. So it's not in my place to castigate his government because there's nothing to say that, okay, you have done badly. He probably is making the right move, but how are you going about this right move that we all anticipated? That's one thing I really or that is not clear to a lot of Nigerians at this time. All right, we're going to, go away from that story and get into our next paper for today, and that will be the Guardian newspaper. And on the Guardian, let's see what the headlines are saying here. All right, we see here, auto gas stalls as NNPC marketers bicker over 500 billion naira debt, prorated fuel cost. Darkness looms as electricity workers may shut down national grid. All right, you find that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We also see here as headline, NLC boycott meeting as federal government, TUC seek options out of Wednesday's strike. Why Tinubu has not appointed a spokesperson. You see that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. We also see here Nigeria's broadband penetration drops as telcos lose 2.5 million voice customers. 7 days into second term, Sanwo-Olu yet to make appointments. We find story on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. And lastly, I'll take this one. It says here, terrorists kill many in Zamfara communities, abduct 30 girls. You find story, or the story is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. All right, let's go to the main headline here on the Guardian. It says, autogas stalls as NNPC marketers bicker over 500 billion naira debt, prorated fuel costs. So we have oil marketers accusing NNPC of some irregularities that has not been brought to the fore. And here we are, NNPC is yet to respond to this, but the monies that we are hearing involved in this somehow scam is so huge, and we're wondering why. You see, this is some of the things that people have said about that is covered in the subsidy era, the whole corruption that is, shrouded in this whole subsidy thing. Well, let's go over the story together.
Okay. Okay. Let's start with the scam or sham issues happening between Ipman and NNPC.
Yeah.
Okay. Mind you, just before this hike in prices, these people had already bought their products.
True.
And with banks, with loans. So the issue now is how
Delivery.
Yeah. How do they get delivered? How do they how does NNPC on their own, they want to adjust their prices so that these guys also pay what they should pay as at today. So they are just
they are changing the price despite the fact that some marketers have bought these products with the old price,
Mm.
but now they are being asked to double up the money to
Mm.
meet up what they have switched onto.
Mm.
I mean, that's
So
ridiculous.
a whole lot of issues going on their own. Ipman on their own wants to go on a separate strike already. Then you mentioned about auto gas. My
Yeah.
brother, Nigeria is blessed, but we are not utilizing our wealth so well. So, auto gas for now is seen as a sham because in 2020, the former Minister of State for Petroleum, that's Tinubu,
Silver, my
your
brother.
your brother, your brother. Okay, made this look so sweet. And when I got that information, then I was like, wow, what a marvelous innovation. Because what are you talking about? Auto gas. Auto gas means using, well, usually CNG, okay, compressed natural gas. Yes, we also have liquid natural gas, but this time around, it is the compressed natural gas. So you can use compressed natural gas to power your vehicles. And I tell you, this is something that other clients, South Korea, Indonesia, as in Turkey, name them, European countries, have been using for a while, okay? So, go ahead, you want to say something?
Yeah, well, no, I wanted you to finish with that story so that we can just, take a break and come back for the last paper.
Okay, so just after declaring that CNG is going into the market, okay, you find out that people were so happy. Marketers, that's fuel station owners, were so excited, and they were ready to give up their stations so that these CNG dispensers can be fitted inside their fuel stations. What then happened? It did not come to fruition. But I want to tell our viewers that, see, this is a very good innovation, and it could have also helped in this era of subsidy
removal.
quagmire, because it will only cost 90 naira, between 90 naira to 100 naira for a liter of
The CNG.
Okay, and it's also known as, the world is going green, and CNG is known as green fuel on its own. Okay, reason because you have petrol emitting so much CO2 against this. So for a liter of CNG, you have about 2.3 kg of 2.0 kg of emitted CO2. But for petrol, you have 2.3. So aside that, the cost is so sweet. And look at it. You can even produce this CNG through crude oil as well as through your natural gas. So, and Nigeria, for sure, we have all this in the subsurface. But are we utilizing it? No. But other countries that don't even have this are even utilizing it more than us.
Yeah.
So it's a welcome development, and come to think of it, this technology is something that can run on almost all our vehicles, because it can be installed while you still have your petrol tank or your petrol supply. It's just I'll use the word, it's just a little technology around there, a change of carburetors and your lines, and you can switch from either CNG or your petrol, and the price alone will just tell you that, see, many people like us
We'll use
just
only the
don't-
CNG.
So not the petrol and use the CNG. So
Okay.
well,
Interesting.
what are the issues now? The issue now is that the promise that they made back in the days have not come to fruition, and the loan that they were supposed to also collect, they are just from one CBN's fault. It's not CBN's fault. It is the policy fault. It's not policy fault. It is the paperwork, implementation. So from one reason to the other, and look at it. By now we would have this talking about subsidy would have just been a little issue right now, because people have already gotten this facility. And mind you, the plan was to, at the first instance, to make sure that 2 million vehicles, well, Nigeria and numbers are making promises, that 2 million vehicles by now should have had this CNG tanks and its components installed in people's vehicles.
Well, you can see that truly, the government of today was ill prepared to pronounce the subsidy removal. There are so many options that would have helped Nigerians to go through this process better. But unfortunately, all of that were not explored. And now we're hearing about CNG and all of that. These are things that should have been put in place before now, but we don't know if all of this will see the light of the day. But well, that's where we will take a break from now. When we come back, we will get into our last paper for the day. Until then, you stay tuned right here on the Newspaper Review. We'll be right back.
Hey there! Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back from that short break, and we want to thank you so much for staying with us right here on the Newspaper Review. We are still reviewing newspapers headlines across newspapers around Nigeria, and I hope you're also commenting on the comment section about what you think of these headlines we've been analyzing here. That is Victor and I on the program. Do well to drop your comments. We're really expecting to hear from you. All right, let's get into our last paper for today, the 5th of June, 2023. And we will get into that paper, which is Daily Independent newspaper. And we see the headlines here. It says, fuel subsidy removal. CSOs, human rights groups, back Wednesday's nationwide strike. Set up joint tactical team to coordinate actions. We also see here, block funds. Nigeria ranked highest with $802.2 million as IATA laments. All right, do well to pick up a copy of Daily Independent newspaper to read up that story. We'll move on to the main headline here. It says, exchange rates unification will crash Nigeria's economy. Exchange rates unification will crash Nigeria's economy. Only enough FX supply will make unification likely. Analyst wants exports, foreign reserves, importing oil products addressed. We find details of all of that story on page 29 of the Daily Independent newspaper. We also see as headline here, Serap asks Tinubu to probe missing $2.1 billion, 3.1 billion naira subsidy payments. Details is on page 7 of the Daily Independent. That's an interesting headline there. We hope, we really hope that just like he promises to fight corruption, once again, we hope that such investigations are also brought to public limelight. Let's begin to know what is really happening behind the subsidy regime that is going away. Let's get to know all the whole corruption that has been hidden under this subsidy regime that we have finally been delivered of. But of course, we are feeling the pain. We will be patient. We'll be patient. Let's carry on with the headlines here. We see here, bandits kill 62 persons in Sokoto, Zamfara communities. Page 6 is where you get details of that story. We'll take this one. No going back on our planned strike for Wednesday, NLC. Blackout looms as electricity workers join planned action. Federal government DUC meeting on fuel subsidy crisis deadlocked. Stakeholders meet again tomorrow as NLC Sean meeting. We find details on page 7 of the Daily Independent newspaper. But of interest to me is the main headline, which is talking about exchange rate unification will crash Nigeria's economy. What do you say to that?
Okay, a difficult one. So if they unify these numbers in the parallel market, that's the Abokina, by the roadside, it is about 780. Okay, but in the bank, it is about 450, 460, 470. Now, so imagine if I should ask you this question: where would you, if this our FX, a dollar, mind you, I was talking about dollars.
Yes.
Where would you like to go and get dollar? Is it with Aboki or? Sorry, I'm calling Aboki, but you guys know what I'm saying.
That's the Aboki FX now.
The Bureau de Changers,
the BDC guys.
Yeah. Would you prefer to go meet them, or would you want to go to a proper bank to do your transaction?
Mm.
Mind you, anytime I'm going personally, anytime I'm going to BDC or these guys on the street, I get scared. Okay, because of maybe I'm robber is following you,
Or
or they
fake
give you
dollar.
fake dollar.
Mm.
But the issue is why Nigerians are not interested in going to the banks, because the banks are not giving the money out. So if they want to say that the BDCs, they want to unify, come to a particular number and say, okay, everybody, let's use this number.
That will run both at the banks and also on the streets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do the CBN and the banks, do they even have enough? Even if they merge it to a particular number, to a particular figure, do they have enough to distribute? The answer is no. Reason, because from the look of things around us, you find out that we are not producing more. We are still an importing nation. That is why these monies, these USD or foreign exchange, will always be scarce. And this is just mere economies. The power of what do you guys call it again? Demand and supply, my brother. Basic economics. So when we don't have this money available, that is why everybody have to increase your rate. Okay, but I have this simple solution. It sounds so simple, and I think that should work for the nation. We need to invest in our agriculture. Why do I say so? Because if you check around the world powers, the nations in the world that are doing well economically, it is not, keep Saudi Arabia by the corner. But if you check the USA, the UK, name them, Turkey, name them, they are producing enough food. Just like we're even talking about the all subsidy matter. The problem why we are feeling so much of this impact is that we don't have enough money to go and buy food. Mr. Siri, if you know that food is available, you cannot take risk in other things, knowing that food is the primary thing.
Yeah. But now we also know that the price has gone up. The prices of most food stocks have already gone up because of that pronouncement by the president. People are already trying to make gains out of all stocks that they have. So just like you said, if these things were not high in the first place, people will not cry so much, because I mean, you can easily eat well, have energy, and trek from Nkpolu to Rumola. It's exercise.
Yeah.
But now you don't have food in your stomach. You go and trek and fall and die. And in Nigeria, they will film you. Social media people will carry your story. So please don't die, Sha. Don't die.
And you know, the popular saying, a hungry man is an angry man.
True.
And come to think of it, if you are hungry, take a look. If you are hungry, how will you walk?
You won't be happy.
And how will you even walk?
Yeah.
How will you be able to concentrate and work out something for yourself and the entire country?
You can't even think.
No, how will you think? Okay, so, and if they don't, see, this is a very critical one for this new government to establish, because if they make any mistake in this, they want to unify, and this economic crashes when I mean crashes like Venezuela. Oh, come to think of it, same thing that is we are getting closer to what is happening to Venezuela. Why am I saying this? Because
that shouldn't happen. No. It will really be disastrous.
This thing has started. We cannot put blame on Tinubu if it goes so bad. Reason, because this has started, even in fact I will even say from 1999. If I equate what is happening in Venezuela and Nigeria, they are almost the same thing. What happened in 2000? What's his name? In the year 2000, what's his name? Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez wanted to come for a third term. Same thing that happened with Obasanjo.
Yeah.
The same style. Then what happened? With pressure and all that, with the infighting that happened, he ceded power to Maduro. And what happened? Their agriculture, because the agriculture was in their hands, they could not manage it. And what happened? It crashed. There were no food in the nation. Yes, they have deposit of what do you call it? Of oil, just like they have a. By the time you factor in their population density and what they have way enough oil. But now they took loans, which we've been taking loans. They cannot service the loans, and it's growing. Same thing that is happening to us and happening to our economy. And at the end of the day, they've crashed to the extent that 95% of the population are poor. When I mean deeply poor that they cannot fend for themselves 2 square meals. And that is why everybody is running out of Venezuela. And see, it is happening. Nigerians, everybody wants to chapa.
Yeah.
The level of poverty is increasing. We are hitting 50%. They are on 95%. We are hitting 50%. There is no food in the land. There is crisis here and there. Even the states that have been the core producers of food. Look at Benue State. Oh, sorry, I'm deviating, but it still goes down to the economic policies that this new government should look into. Look at how they have now come with forcing, because I call it forcing subsidy into our throats.
Yeah.
If they try it with this common demand and supply that they want to just, oh yeah, everybody, let's come together. I understand the importance of having one value, okay, both for parallel markets and the bank rates.
Yeah.
Okay. Reason why we also need that one figure or one figure of value is that some people, they have subsidized this dollar, the FX, to some mini groups. The people that are privileged are the ones getting these monies from the banks.
Sure.
But you and I cannot just go to the bank and get it. Oh, and they are even putting more will I say clauses before you now get. Now they say, okay, if you don't have a tax clearance, you cannot even access the common 1,000 PTA. PTA, that's a personal traveler's allowance. That back in the days when I made my first trip outside this country, when was it? In 2013? Yeah, in 2013. Mr. Bule, we changed USD for 130 naira for $1 in 2013.
Yeah.
And it was just a simple thing. We just walked into the bank. Within 10 minutes, we got USDs of 5,000 each. But now you can't even get USD of 1,000. Before you even get that 1,000, you do the application, you go back home, you submit your tax clearance certificate.
Yeah.
Nigeria has scattered. We are not going to blame this new government. If you ask me if I had a major blame, because the way this country scattered from 2015 to date. So please, lastly, they should not force these numbers. Okay, it is a good thing. Just like we say, subsidy is not good for the economy.
Yeah.
How can we be spending 4 trillion naira yearly in subsidy? Why education and health joined together, we are only spending 1 trillion? And for an economy to thrive, the citizens need to be healthy.
Yes, of course.
And the citizens need to be educated. So by the time you are just spending only 1 trillion and you are spending 4 trillion on fuel, what do you expect in the coming years?
Of course. Of course. Thank you so
I
much,
say, man.
Victor. That's where we're going to draw the curtain for today. Well, enough has been said already as regards all the headlines we have had to deal with this morning. Don't forget that you're also part of this program, so drop your comments and your reactions. And also stay connected to us right here on Tap TV. On all our social media platforms, we're on Facebook as Tap TV, on Instagram is Tap TV_NG, and on Twitter is Tap TV _NG. So stay connected to us on all of those platforms. Until next time, we'll come your way again. My name is William Sabule. Please, don't trek too much. Take it easy. Plan your movements, very well. Plan transportation too, because we have to survive, this very tough time, subsidy removal era. And then again, don't die. Please, don't die. Because if you die, you're the one that lost out in this whole battle. And stay alive, because better days are ahead of us. All right, see you next time.